On this episode of the Whiskey Tornado, we review Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch A122. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Tornado. I'm your host, Lance. Today, I am so excited to be able to review Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch A122. As you guys know, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is one of my favorite bourbons, especially for the value. It always is in our Bourbon of the Year running. And if you want to see where I've ranked whiskeys so far in 2022, just head over to whiskeytornado.com. You will see a link where you can see every whiskey I've reviewed and how it ranks so far this year. I am sure this is going to be near the top of the list. So what we're going to do today is taste Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch A122. We are also going to do a blind tasting against the last year's A batch and the year before's A batch. So I'm really excited to see where this one stacks up. Last year's Elijah Craig batches weren't as good as 2020, so I'm really excited to see where this falls in line. This year's A batch comes in at 120.8 proof. If you look on the side, you'll see they have its age stated, 12 years old, non-chill filtered, uncut. And for $65, it is a really hard bourbon to beat for the money. Before we get into the review, I will quickly explain our scoring system for those of you new to the channel. We have 7 categories. We rank 0 to 1. 0.5 is an average score in each category. The first 2 categories are handicap. Those categories are appearance and availability. After that, we move on to the nose, palate, finish, body, and value. We add all those scores up at the end. Any score of 3 or better is bar worthy, meaning feel safe to buy that for your bar. You're going to love it. Your guests are going to love it. Any score of 4 or better is bunker some, just in case the bourbon you love is no longer made. All right, guys and gals, with all that being said, let's get into the appearance of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch A122. All right, so I say it on every review, but the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof bottles are fine. They're okay. They're better than average, but nothing's blowing me away. It's basically the exact same bottle they use for the regular Elijah Craig at 94 proof. The only differentiating factor to it is the neck tag that says barrel proof, and the tag here is just a little bit different. Other than that, it looks like the same bottle. And these are special bottles. This is such good bourbon. It makes me want to bunker them every time I review them because I'm just not sure how long we're going to have 12-year age-stated bourbon for $65. So I just think it should be amped up a little bit. I'm not crazy about it. I will say when you have a bunch of these on the shelf, like I do, they do look really good. So we're going to give it a better than average score on appearance, but nothing crazy. We're going to give it a 0.6. All right, when we're talking about availability on this bottle, it is limited and becoming more limited as the years pass. People know this is a fantastic bourbon. It has incredible value. It's 12 years old. It's uncut, unfiltered, at barrel proof, and you could get it for around $65. So these fly off the shelves if they even hit the shelves anymore. So it's less than average. It's a 0.3, and as the years go by, it's going to go lower and lower. All right, now that we've got the 2 handicapped categories out of the way, let's get on to the good stuff. Let's nose this. Oh man, let's see if it stacks up to 2020. I like what I'm smelling so far. Man, the first thing that hits me is the like caramel chew and cinnamon candy sweetness. Lots of cinnamon on this for me. Little bit of nuttiness, like your typical Heaven Hill nuttiness, not to the Jim Beam nuttiness, like, but almost like a very light thread of like dried peanut shells. Really nice though. And then what I'm really getting that I love is that Rick House funk. It's just a little bit of Rick House. So sometimes Heaven Hill can go a little too far for me, and that Rick House dustiness that I love turns into like a dank moldy wood. And when it goes to the dank moldy wood, if it's too much, I don't like it. If it's a little, I'm fine. But I really prefer this, where you get just a little bit of that Rick House dustiness. When you first walk into a Rick House, if you've ever done that, you know what smell I'm talking about. You absolutely love it. And this is in there, and it just shows me the age in a beautiful way. Man, that's really nice. And then on the nose, it's really weird when I get textures on the nose, but this just smells buttery to me. Man, I really love the nose on this. This is like taking me back to the 2020 years. Those were good. The 2020 batches were so good. This nose is taking me back there. And even I'm getting like a little bit of apples. And, normally I could tell you whether it was green or red, and I don't know that I can. I just get like cinnamon apples on this. Golly, really, really good. On the nose, I'm going to give it a 0.8. It is getting to that exceptional level. All right, moving on to the palate. Cheers, everybody. There's that caramel and cinnamon candy sweetness that I was smelling is all there on that first sip. Really nice. Barrel spice, lots of barrel spice on this. Not, the spice isn't from alcohol. It's not like an ethanol burn. That is pure barrel spice. It's dancing all over my tongue on the first sip. I like that. Lots of nuttiness there. Again, that cinnamon spice, a little bitter. There's like a nice thread of like strawberry that I'm getting. I'm not getting the apples I was getting on the nose. The fruit note I'm getting on the palate is like a really thin layer of strawberry, which is nice. I love it. Going for one more sip here. This is a good batch. I like this. I don't believe it's up to the 2020 batches. It'll be interesting to compare these here in a second. But what I want to do, because what I think is important with Elijah Craig, well, with a lot of bourbons, but with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof especially, I think you'll get a lot of value of adding water to these. We were on an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof pick at Heaven Hill Distillery. We were in the Rick House, and the guy that led the tour encouraged us to add water, and I didn't really want to, but he's the expert, so I added water. And what happened was, especially in one of the Elijah Craig picks, the actual one we went with, is when you added water, it opened up and released like these berry notes, almost like a raspberry note that I did not get when we were tasting it straight from the barrel. So I'm a believer in playing with Elijah Craig, adding water, getting it to a proof point, add a little bit of water and then add a lot. See if you find any faults to it. So I'm going to add just a touch here and see if anything opens up in this. Man, that Rick House dustiness is really popping. Smell a little bit more honey now. A little bit more sweetness. Just going for a sip with some water. Almost became more floral when I added water. Definitely a little bit more honey. I'm not sure I like it with more water, but it is interesting to see what notes start coming out as you add water. I did add a lot of water earlier to this, brought it way down. I didn't find any faults with it. It just became more honey, more caramel, like your typical 94 proof Elijah Craig. You know, the more water you add, the less complexity you're going to get. I think once you get it down, you know, under that 110 proof. But if you just add a few drops of water to this, I really think it's going to open it up. You're going to find some more complexity to it. It's really fun to do, really interesting to do. I really encourage you guys to add a little bit of water and play with the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. So on the palate for me, as far as score goes, I'm going to give this a 0.7. I don't believe it's to that 0.8 range where it just blows my mind, but it's certainly above average. It's certainly above that 0.5, 0.6. It's into really good territory, but not exceptional territory. So we're going to keep it at a 0.7 as far as the palate goes. All right, moving on to the body. Body is the same thing. You know, this has a lot of good texture. It does have a buttery quality to it. It's certainly better than average. You're talking about an uncut, unfiltered bourbon at 120 plus proof, but it's not blowing me away either. So I'm going to give it a 0.7. And the same goes with the finish. We are talking about a finish that is good, but it's not great. So we're going to give it a 0.7 because it's certainly better than average. You get a lot of barrel spice. But it's not blowing me away. All right, moving on to value. I've said this 100 times in this review, but you're talking about a 12-year-old age-stated, uncut, unfiltered, barrel-proof bourbon for $65. It's really hard to beat. It's probably impossible to beat. This is one of the best value bourbons there is. It is the staple for value. So it is a 1, and it always helps bump these to close to bunker worthy, if not bunker worthy. And the value here definitely did. I think this is a bunker worthy bottle. I'm always afraid that the age statement on Elijah Craig barrel proofs are going to go away. But for now, they're here. It's uncut, unfiltered. It's 12 years old. It's $65. It's a 1 on the value. That brings the overall score to a 4.35, making it bunker worthy. The real question is, where does it stack up against other A batches? And that's what we're going to do right now. All right, for those true whiskey nerds that have stuck around, we are going to do a taste off between the A batches from the last 3 years. So first we have, of course, A122. I have batch A121, which this one, I wasn't crazy. I mean, it was good. I really liked it, but I wasn't crazy about it when I first opened it. I have went back to that batch since and loved it. In fact, I put it in my top 5 bourbons of the year for 2021. And then we have, of course, I'm running out. I'm almost out, but batch A120. And this one absolutely blew me away. It is 136.6 proof. But I don't think it tastes like that. And what I loved about this batch was the raspberry notes I was getting. Now, I haven't had this in a while because I've been really nursing it. So I'm not sure what air's done to this. I'm not sure if I'm going to get those raspberry notes that I got before. But that probably would have been my bourbon of the year in 2020. But as you guys know, we crowdsource our bourbon of the year. So I let our Patreon members vote on it. And I think that year we did Bardstown Discovery 3 or 4 ended up winning, but A120 was right there. So I've mixed these up. I do not know which is which. I don't want to know because I really want to know what is my favorite Elijah Craig A batch. So bear with me here, guys, as I go through these. We are going on to number 1. I've written the number on the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of smell these real quick. Oh, man. Whatever B is, that's a good nose. They're all such good noses. I think 1, whatever A is, has the most nuttiness on the nose. 2 just smells so rich. Almost like there is a fruit note on 2, whatever B is. I'm sorry. And then, I mean, these all smell amazing. You can't go wrong with any of these. So, all right, let's go to A here. Really nice. You got that caramel, that cinnamon, the cinnamon spice that I was getting when I reviewed A122. A little bit of drying, a little bit of rick house. Really nice on that first one. going to number 2. Oh man. Number 2 is good. Now see, I get a raspberry note on number 2. So I'm trying not to pick out which I think is which, just which one I like more for you guys. But I did get some fruitiness. That one did have some heat too. And I think that A120 was 136.6 proof, so it is hot. Okay, let's go to sample C here. Sample C, just really rounded, really nice. Man, C tasted the most cohesive to me, the most put together, really creamy. I really like C, and I have a feeling that C is the 121, which, and I'm getting a long hug from that too. I think a lot of people, and I might have all these wrong, guys, but A121 was 123.6 proof. But man, that finish was the longest. It was the most rounded on sample C. I really like that. Okay, let me take a minute, drink some water, and I'm gonna go back through these. All right, we are gonna start with sample C, go to B, and then to A. On the first pass, I think C was my favorite. They were all fantastic, but C was just very rounded to me, very put together. And I would guess, like most people, when they see this, would go, they would probably think that A121 was going to rank last. I think that 3 is A121, and it was my favorite. So, and I would have been with you. I would have thought the same thing. It's just so nice. You have caramel. You have some red fruits in there. Really nice. I like C. Let's go to B here. B is so interesting, so complex. It is a little bitter on the back end, but B has a fruit note that just shines for me, and I love that fruit note. It's a little bit more complex. Man, it is tough for me between B and C, but man, and now B's finish is just going. B is good. B's really good. B might have just taken a little bit of a step above C. All right, going back to A. A has a little bit more nuttiness. It's still really good, really well rounded. I think if I had to rank them, whatever A is would be last. B and C, man, they are right there. Let me taste B and C back to back one more time. I know this is a long video today, but we gotta know. We gotta know which Elijah Craig's the best. God, I love that B. It is so good. Just waiting for the finish to stop. Finishes forever. It's got those good berry notes. All right, on to C. Yeah, I mean, C is fantastic, but I think B has just a little bit more complexity. So I would rank B first, C third, A last. Now, if I had to guess, I would say B is the A120. I would guess C is the A121. And I think my last place is the A122, which kind of surprises me if that's the case, but who knows? I could be way off. So we are going to reveal this. In last place out of the A batches is A122. Now, I will say this has not had any time to open up. So this is a fresh crack. It is still really, really good, But where it is right now, just opened, I don't think it holds to A120 or A121. So in second place, my guess is that it's A121, but we'll see. And it is A121. I think you guys can see that. And that means first place, as always, is the A120, which makes me sad. I really wish A122 beat both of these, but it doesn't, because I just don't have much of A120 left. So in summary, I think A122 is a bunker bottle. It is very, very good. Where it stands right now, I don't think it holds up to either of the previous A batches, but I do like it and I would consider it bunker worthy. So if you guys see this on the shelves, it is a definite buy. Do not hesitate. The most I would probably pay for this bottle, I'd probably pay $75 would be my max for a 122. All right, guys, I hope that helps you decide what to buy and what to leave on the shelves. Thank you so much to all you whiskey nerds that stayed around to this point in the video. I really appreciate you. Love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. If you love this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what is your favorite Elijah Craig batch. I am always interested to hear, because don't take my opinion for it. I'm just one guy and I have one palate. Just because I say something doesn't make me right. So tell me, what is your favorite batch of Elijah Craig? I'm dying to hear. Love you guys. Thank you again so much for the support. And I will cheers you guys out with the A120. Cheers, guys.
Ooh.